Welcome back to this week's episode of Friends of Kayla. Today's guest is a former IDF soldier and one of the most unapologetic voices out there, in my opinion, when it comes to Israel. So, Tali, welcome to Friends of Kayla.
Thanks for having me, Kayla.
All the way from Oregon, my girl.
Yes, all the way from Oregon.
I was like, where do you live these days? I'm like, she's Israeli, lived in Israel, served in the IDF. You carry a lot of different identities.
Yes.
As a woman. So tell us, what do you identify as, and what do all of your identities mean to you?
Yeah. So I always say I'm Israeli, Jewish, Ethiopian American. Okay. That is like all of my identities. And I added American recently just because I became American in 2018. Like I immigrated when I was 10, but I really feel like if I can vote and be a part of this society, and obviously like I sound and look so American, then I'm American, which I didn't really identify as back in the day. But Judaism means a lot to me. That's like my background. Like that is how I was raised. So being Jewish is one of the most important identities. And then obviously Israel is a big part of who I am. I was born there, served in the IDF. And now I do a lot of advocacy work. So it's just, who I am. And then Ethiopian, that's what you see me as. If you walk down the street, I feel like people that have been around Ethiopians can be like, you're Ethiopian, by mostly the size of my forehead, but
I did not know that was a thing, so I wouldn't be able to recognize that. No. But okay, no. That's interesting to know.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a stereotype. Okay, we're learning. We're learning. So your parents came from Ethiopia to Israel.
Yes.
When was that?
So my mom came to Ethiopia before the first operation. So like in 1983, I want to say she came to Israel. I know a lot of people think that all Ethiopian Jews came on the operations, like Operation Moses and Operation Solomon, but there was Ethiopian Jews like as early as the late 70s. So I have some family that's come to Israel in like 1979. My mom came in 83, and then my dad's not Jewish, my dad's side of the family.
Okay.
So they grew up together. They like went to school, and then my mom in 1990 went back to Ethiopia to bring her brother to Israel. And then, I don't know, they like ran into each other and reconnected, and then it's sort of just history from there. So my dad moved to Israel.
Is your dad any sort of like, does he like maintain a faith at all?
So my dad's side of the family is Christian.
Okay.
So I grew up in a very sort of like mixed background of, doing like practicing sort of like both religions, not sort of practicing, but yeah. So yeah, I have a mixed background, but like my upbringing was in Israel. So, being born and raised in Israel till you're 10, it's sort of like Torah studies in like regular public school in Israel. Doing all the holidays there, and then in America we were sort of introduced to like the Christian side of things, because there is Christianity in Israel, but you sort of have to like go seek it out. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And had your dad ever pictured himself like living in Israel as a Christian?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
but I mean, he's now. My parents retired in 2019 and they moved back to Israel. So now they're just like living there, and he loves it. I mean, he speaks Hebrew and everything. Yeah.
Okay. So it's really become home for them.
Yeah.
So I found you, Tali, because, you're one of the few Ethiopian Jewish Israeli American women that's actually like posting online, talking about your identity, and really like you're a representation of so many different backgrounds. And you posted something recently saying, if you're anti-Israel, you're anti-Black. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what sparked my connection to you. I was like, I want to hear what this girl has to say. So tell me a little bit more about like how you got into speaking online, about who you are, and what the reactions of the online community have been like.
Yeah. So I started posting on social media in September. So like not even a year ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's pretty recent. I have worked in marketing for like 10 years, different brands, different agencies. And then, marketing is sort of like the first thing to go when like there's a shaky economy. So I got laid off like 3 times in the past like year and a half. And then the last time I got laid off, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start posting on social media, and I'm not gonna like, because I've always posted on social media. Like I grew a following for teaching people how to apply for jobs using Chat GPT, and like there's just like helping people use AI, and I kind of blew up on TikTok for that, but it felt empty because I couldn't really like be myself. Like I wasn't telling people anything. That was, I don't know. After a while, you sort of like get stuck in a box. So, anyways, I got laid off, and I decided to just start posting, especially after Charlie Kirk passed. So he passed or got killed. I shouldn't say passed. You know, he
Was
really
brutally
got,
murdered.
yeah.
Yeah.
And right before he passed, I had ordered his pocket constitution, because I was just getting into his videos, and I was like, oh my gosh, like he makes sense to me. Because before, I grew up in Oregon, I went to college in Oregon, it's very liberal. Before, Charlie Kirk was sort of like in my peripheral of like somebody that I shouldn't be paying attention to, like as a liberal sort of person.
Right.
And so I watched his videos, and I was like, I agree with him. Like he wants like the best part of America to show, and he's just telling people truth, and people are just not liking the truth. So anyways, I ordered the pocket constitution, and then maybe like a week later he got killed. And I was like, this is so weird. Like,
Yeah, the timing.
yeah, it was very weird. And I was like, I feel like I'm not doing enough for my country, Israel. If he just died literally for having conversations with people, what am I doing? I've been quiet the past 2 years, and I've been scared, essentially, like living in a very liberal city, working in marketing, you're sort of like client facing. Like I didn't want people to like ostracize me, essentially, or like find my LinkedIn and be like, she's a Zionist, like go fire her. And so after that, I started posting. Like he really inspired me to just start speaking up for what matters. And so I started posting, and I knew I was going to go viral because, there isn't a lot of people that look like me in this space. Like, obviously, my background is really interesting, but my English is really good. So I understand how to like sort of speak to the American public. So my post went viral, and I was like, okay, it feels like I'm doing the right thing. And then right after that, October 1st was he died like mid-September. October 1st was Yom Kippur.
Mm.
Yom Kippur, I fasted, I prayed like, and I was writing in my journal. I know you're not supposed to write on Yom Kippur, but I was writing in my journal, and I was just like thinking about things that I wanted for the year. And I wrote like a bunch of like random things, like this many followers, blah, blah, blah. And then I wrote like, I want to go to Israel, but I don't want to pay for it. But like, it was so far fetched for me. I'm like, I'm Israeli. Like, I'm not going on a birthright trip.
But
Like,
you're
no
like, I
one's
don't
sending me.
qualify for this trip. Right. Right.
Exactly. So, and I wrote it down, and I was like, that's not going to happen. And so that was like Thursday. On Sunday, I get an email from Tel Aviv Institute being like, hey, we'd love to fly you out to Israel for this conference. And I was like,
You're like,
what?
I manifested this.
If this isn't a sign from God, I don't know what is. So then I went to the conference with Tel Aviv Institute and a bunch of other influencers, and my account just like kept growing. And I spent 2 months in Israel just like creating content and really like getting into the space. And I was like, wow, this feels like this is my calling. Like I'm just showing up as myself, and it like actually matters. And like people are having conversations. And obviously, like I'm showing up as like a Black Jewish person with like perfect English, but also perfect Hebrew. And people are like, what is happening?
I was gonna say, I
Like,
feel like I've seen comments on your stuff, people being like, you're not Israeli, like you don't speak, you have no accent. Like people are shocked. And then they're like,
yeah.
oh, well, you can't be Black and Jewish. Like, what are some of these like crazy accusations that you've gotten, or any that come to mind that are repetitive?
Yeah. So a lot of times, so back to your first questions, like you said, my posts, if you're anti-Israel, you're anti-Black.
Yeah.
So I did that video specifically for the Arab world, because
Mm.
the comments that I keep getting from the Arab world is you're a second class citizen. They don't even like you over there. They don't like the white Jewish people. They don't like you. And I'm like, you're saying everything that is happening in your countries to me.
Yeah, like
Because
you're projecting.
exactly. Because in
Yeah.
Israel, I'm not a second class citizen. But if I go to your country, if I go to Dubai, if I go to Saudi Arabia, if I go to Yemen, if I go to any of these Arab countries, and I don't have a Western passport, I'm a second class citizen. They have the kafala system, which is what I spoke about in those videos, which is like legalized slavery. They pay them based on like, if you come from the Philippines, you're getting paid a little bit more than if you came from Nigeria. And it's like this slavery that's happening within the Middle East, but that's not happening in Israel. You come to Israel, you can have any sort of passport, be a black person from any country, and you're fine. Like no one looks at me and is like, you're not Jewish. Most of the time when I'm in Israel, people are like, why the hell do you have an American accent? They're like,
That's their main concern.
yeah. They're like,
Not their
aren't you Ethiopian? Like, they're like, they think that like I'm one of them because I am one of them, and it's like, there is no, I'm not going to say there's no racism. There's racism everywhere. You know what I mean? But there is no, this idea of like second class citizen at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just like the racist comments come from the Arab world because they don't even know. And then there's like the stupid comments about like contraception and like all these like sort of myths that float around about Ethiopian Jews. Or there's like myths that the Ashkenazi Jews don't mix with the Beta Israel Ethiopian Jews because they want to have like a clean blood. Like it's like, all the like sort of like
purebred children.
Yeah.
Oh wow. People
And it's
really go.
No,
all
it's
over.
crazy.
Like the thing, I don't even want to know what your comment section looks like. I'm like, I haven't even heard half of these. Like, what are myths about Ethiopian Jews? Like, I didn't grow up around any Ethiopian Jews. You know? I remember going to Israel with my family when I was 10, and we went to a fula. And I think we went to like a village of Ethiopian Jews, and that was my first entry point to like, oh, there could even be a Jew that is a person of color. Like, I didn't even know that as a 10-year-old. So like, that was so eye-opening to me. But other than that, I haven't had really any exposure.
I mean, we're such a small tribe. It's like in Israel,
Like within a tribe within a tribe.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like less than 200,000 worldwide. And in Israel, it's like 180,000 of us. So we're less than like 2% of the population. So you're not going to find us everywhere. Also, I always tell people it's like, it would be very surprising for you to meet an Ethiopian Jew in America because we just got to Israel, like the first few Ethiopian Jews that made it to Israel were like in the late 70s, but really they got there in 1984. No one is looking to come to America. You know what I mean? Like my mom is like, I'm stuck. Like I asked her like, are you going to come visit me? No, you can come visit me. Like since 2019, they have not been back because they don't
need to
they
come
don't
here.
they don't care. Yeah. I have family that's like they are not even interested in coming to visit America because they're like, we're Jews in our homeland. Like, why do we need to come? We just got here. So people are not going to meet Ethiopian Jews anytime soon, like in America. And yeah, once you go to Israel, you'll see us. But here it's like, I think I have like a few followers that I know that are Ethiopian Jews that live in America, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, we're not
So
here.
what was your experience like serving in the IDF, and like with your experience living in Oregon in a more progressive city? Like, are you very open about your Israeli background and
Yeah.
that you did serve in the IDF?
Yeah, I've always been very open about who I am. I mean, like in high school, my nickname was like Black Jew. You know what I mean? It was like it was funny back then. It's not like that crazy like it is now, but everybody knew that I was going into the IDF and people were like, that is so crazy. And like back then we would like Skype, like and like write emails back and forth. I'm a little old, so this was like way prior to social media, but I always knew that I wanted to be a part of the IDF. I didn't have this like aha moment of like, should I go? I'm going. It was sort of like a progression of like, this is what's happening next. And yeah, I've always been very open about it. I think as I've gotten older, not everybody knows that I was in the IDF, but everybody knows that I'm Israeli. Like if somebody asks me, where are you from? Especially because like my name is Tali Aynalem. People are always like, where are you from? Like my first name is Hebrew. My last name is Amharic. I'm Ethiopian Jew from Israel. But I've always been open about that. But the IDF, now it just depends on who I'm talking to. I probably won't share that with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did your experience in the IDF shape your perspective on what happened on October 7th?
So when I was in the IDF, I was in Givati, which is a combat unit with the purple berets. I always tell people that, but I was on a combat unit with like hundreds of men, and there's only a few women. on these bases, and we're just doing admin work essentially. But the combat soldiers are like on patrol. So I've been stationed on the Gaza border. I've been in Judea and Samaria, Golan Heights. Like I'm with these soldiers. So for me, when I think about all these wars that are happening, I just think back to like my brothers, you know, those kids, like we were kids. So it's like when I picture war, like I don't picture these like tough IDF soldiers. They're like kids, they're my brothers. Like it just feels so personal to me. So it's like when I hear, you know, as the war was progressing, you just hear like day after day, like we can now let you know that this person has passed, this person has passed, and it's like soldier after soldier after soldier, and I'm like, it just hits so different. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's like these are my brothers. Like that's like Moshe or Yosef. You know what I mean? It's like it's not just like this random person, because you just realize once you've experienced, you know, being in the IDF, these are regular people. But we have like one mission, and that's like so close to us. That's why we decided to serve.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you did serve in the army, I mean, like you said, racism exists everywhere. Were there any experiences that you had while serving that like people, even in Israel, like questioned your identity, questioned your Judaism versus your race? And how did that kind of intersect onto one?
Not really. You know, the Ethiopian community, like I think it's like Ethiopian Jews are sort of new to the American Jewish world, or like not new, but like you guys know about us, but you don't have
Yeah,
experience.
I had no exposure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have no experience, so it's
Yeah.
like it's sort of like new, but we're so much a part of the culture in Israel
Mhm.
that they're just like, you were in America? Like that is like, what are you doing? First of all, why did you come back? Why are you joining the military? I would stay
They're
in
like, stay in
America.
America.
Yeah.
Don't come back here. That's
Exactly. Like, what
crazy.
are you doing here? But it's like being an Ethiopian Jew is like, we're such a fabric of the culture that it's not even a question. You know, there's so many other Ethiopian Jews that were on base with me that it was never a question. It was more like, are you crazy? Why did you come back here? You should have stayed in America. Seriously.
Yeah, like protect yourself and stay there, stay home. Um, no, that's so interesting. I feel like going back to like what I've seen you post about, you've talked a lot about, you know, being Black and Jewish, but feeling like people are so quick to call out racism, but not anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
How has that played out for you, like in your personal life?
Yeah. So when I was in college, I attended Portland State University, and I was the president of the Cultural and Historical Association of Israel. I also like was an Emerson Fellow at Stand With Us, so I was really active within my activism on campus. And I would say I did not experience anti-Semitism. I did not experience it at all, because I actually was just with my friend Jennifer and her husband Ariel. We went to college together, and we were talking about how they experienced a lot of anti-Semitism, and I was like, really? I didn't experience anything. So it felt like in real life, people are scared to like be rude to me because they don't want to seem racist. You get
Mm.
what I
So
mean?
they were like shielding themselves almost,
Or like I
or
feel
like
like
you have a shield around
yeah,
you almost.
because I'm Black, because it's like
Mm.
they don't want to say anything that is offensive, because automatically you're just gonna like
Because they're like, oh, it's not because she's Jewish, it's because she's Black.
exactly. So I feel like it
Crazy.
almost like shielded me in a way, but it's like I would have loved to know what people were thinking for real, you
Mm.
know? So it's
I
sort
just
of interesting.
I think about that a lot just because I lived in New York during like the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
And I feel like after October 7th, we were all like, we posted our Black squares for you guys. Like, where are you for the Jewish people?
Yeah.
And my whole life too, like I was never friends with many Jewish people. Like my childhood best friends from growing up, from Hebrew school, like those are my Jewish girls and my sisters. But outside of that, like I really rejected my Jewish identity
Hmm.
and was always friends with people from all over the world. And I love that about myself. Like I love that I was able to relate to people like so many different backgrounds. But, you know, when push comes to shove, it's like anti-Semitism somehow is accepted while racism isn't.
Yeah.
And like, I guess for you, like seeing what happened during BLM to, you know, the reaction after October 7th, like what did you experience in your own circles? Like, were you friends with other Jewish people in Oregon? Like, what does your circle look like today?
So I don't have a big Jewish community in Portland. I have
Yeah.
literally well, I used to have two Jewish friends in Oregon, but one moved. But one of my closest friends, we've been friends for like over a decade. So him and his family, like we're friends. But most of my friends were black in Oregon. Also, like I was like so liberal. I always say like I found out that like racism existed in 2014 when I was like in college because
Wow.
I didn't even I thought that like racism was like a thing of like slavery. Like people are not racist anymore. I thought if a person's being an asshole to me, you're an asshole. Like
Yeah, it's
not
not,
because
has
I'm
nothing to do with
black.
my skin color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
I was like, brainwashed into thinking that everything is about race and whatever. So BLM did have a toll on me, and I was like, sort of, it's just like such a weird experience. But then once October 7th happened, it was like sort of like an aha moment because they were still spreading so many lies about Israel and what's happening. It was like, if they can lie about this, that, and I know the truth, like I know what is happening in Israel. I'm Israeli, like I've been here, and you guys are making up these weird lies. What else are you lying about? You
And
know?
are you saying they as in like friends of yours, like your black friends,
I
or
mean,
just in general,
in general, the
the
world, but
world? Yeah.
also, so I was in Israel on October 7th when it happened. Like I had been there for a month because that was Simchat Torah, like the last day of the holidays, or like, there's a bunch of holidays for the month, and then Simchat Torah was the last holiday, and that's the day that they chose. But um I was there, and I got out on like one of the last flights to leave Israel. And I remember my friends just texting me. One of my friends specifically, we had been friends for years, like maybe like 10 years. And she's like, "Oh my God, you made it out. That's so great." And she's like on the phone with me because I needed to like get a hotel once I landed in America because my flight was like super delayed. And like a bunch of people were just hitting me up, like trying to make sure that I was okay because they saw the videos. And then I'm not kidding, like within a blink of an eye, it all changed. And the same friend that was checking on me that I've been friends with for like 10 years, now we're talking on a daily basis. Because at that point, I was just in a depression. Like when October 7th happened, I had to like get off social media. I couldn't stop crying about, it was just such a dark time. And then around Thanksgiving, I hadn't been outside. I hadn't been like around my peers in Portland because I just felt like I'm just like in such a dark time, but I wanted to know who's for me and who's against me. So I went back on social media. I remember I re-downloaded the app, and I see her first post is something Israel's committing a genocide. And I said, "What?" We talk every day. This is not like a random person. This is like a friend that I talk to every day. And I sent her a screenshot, and I was like, "This doesn't sit right with me." And she said, "Well, I think that Israel is committing a genocide." And I said, "Okay, well, thanks for letting me know where you stand. We're no longer friends."
Wow.
And so a lot of people will make sort of jokes or like, just say like, pro-Palestinian sort of things. And I'm like, why are you saying, like, you're saying this to me like it doesn't affect me? Like, my parents are not getting bombed every week, and my family is not getting bombed. You know what I mean? It's like such a, I don't know, what's the word? Not dissonance. I forget the word, but it's like such a separation of like what is real and what is not. Like they almost don't see me as Israeli. Like if you're saying Israel's committing a genocide, I'm committing a genocide.
Yeah,
It's
you're saying
not,
this about me. You're like,
yeah,
I served in this army that is
literally.
fighting this war that we did not start.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's like
Like, is this personal?
there is no separation. Like what you say about Israel is you're saying that about me.
Yeah. And
Cuz
about Jews worldwide.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the I don't have many friends anymore. Let's just say that. No,
No.
yeah.
See, this is like what shocks me as well. And like going back to like BLM, and what I was trying to say before too is like I always felt more connected to like black people and my like Mexican friends in high school and people of other backgrounds because I was like, I'm Jewish, like we're also a minority, like we have this connection.
Yeah.
So I think that was all the more surprising to see like my own black friends completely
Abandon us.
abandon us.
Yeah.
And I guess like what do you say or what have you said to your friends in the black community who feel like supporting Israel means betraying their own people? Because it seems like that's what they think it is.
Yeah. I will say a lot of my friends are like closeted conservatives. So,
Oh,
which is
so you would think they do support Israel.
yeah, a lot of them. So like
Oh,
a lot of them do, the friends that I'm with now, but there's a lot of people who are just too scared to say anything publicly. They wouldn't say, you know?
yeah.
And anybody that says anything publicly about Israel, like I don't even unfollow, block. Like if you I remember there's this one girl. The thing is, it's like there's people that I've like literally I put money in your pocket. Like we've collabed. Like I used to have I used to work on a project with Adidas, so I was like working with a lot of community members within the city, and I'm like, I put money in your pocket, and you're posting that there's a genocide in Israel when we've had conversations. And it's weird because I'm like, you know, somebody that's from Israel that served in the IDF. And instead of having a conversation with me, you're just getting on a bandwagon. Why are you doing that? Just ask me real questions, you know? And that's the thing. It's like you don't even want to have real conversations. But I also think that people use social media in such a passive way, they don't even realize what they're doing, you know?
Well, just an easy way to make a statement without having to dig deeper into it and
Exactly.
like understand from a deeply rooted perspective, like the nuances of the situation, like both sides having conversations. Like it's just easy to repost something
Yeah.
and have that be your opinion.
And it's
It's easier to do that than have a hard
a real
conversation, I
yeah.
guess. Yeah. So I guess on that note, like speaking out has cost you friendships, like it has many of us.
Yeah.
But what has it also brought you in return?
You know, I feel like I'm actually in my purpose. Like I feel like I just get to show up as myself every single day and like not hide any sort of part of me. I also feel like it's like a continuation of my service. You know, I'm not able to be a reserve soldier, but I'm able to make a difference and like really amplify our voice in ways that are not possible. And I also think that there is the fact that I am Black and Jewish, but I'm also I've lived in this sort of like a Black American world for so long, but I'm also Israeli and I know how to speak to our people that I'm able to like bring a message that will come across. You know, I also understand how social media works. So when I create content that's like, if you're anti-Israeli or anti-Black, I know that it's gonna, you know,
Controversial.
it's controversial and it will reach the right people for them to like understand the message, you know, because I think that that's the main thing. We don't want, I don't need you to be pro-Israel. I just need you to understand that you're rooting for the wrong side. You don't need to be pro us, but you can't be pro them because they're not even pro you, you
Yeah.
know?
I was literally just gonna ask you, like, what do you want Americans or even just Black Americans, everyone, to understand about Israel that they currently don't
Yeah.
understand?
So, you know, Ashir and I are working on a project together. It's called Breaking Bread. And I'm like, if you guys don't know who Ashira is, she has
And
the
I was gonna
Black,
say plug Ashira.
yeah, she has the Black and Jewish podcast. She's African American, grew up in the Bay Area, studied in Israel, and converted to Judaism in Israel. And we realized there's sort of a gap in the market, as you, if you will, and there's a lot of like Black and Jewish conversations that are happening. Like PBS had a special that was like a Black and Jewish Seder. And then there's Van Jones who does like the Exodus sort of dinners with Black and Jewish people. And we realized that we cannot have other people decide what they're going to speak for us, you know, especially if we're not being invited to the table. So it's like she got uninvited from one of those dinners because she was too Zionist. And it's like, if we're
Mm.
missing Israel from the conversation, we don't need to be having these dinners. So we think we're working on a project called Breaking Bread where we want to have like town halls with Black and Jewish folks, but we want to have Israel in the room. And we need people who are Black and Jewish who will never shy away from speaking about Israel. And that is us. And we're in a pivotal moment where there isn't, you know, in the past, Israel's so young that in the past, there might have been Black Jews, but they weren't connected to Israel. And Ethiopian Jews just made it to Israel. So it's like, you're just now seeing us sort of popping up in social media. Not everybody wants to be on social media, but you're just now seeing some of us in America that like it's such a pivotal moment to have Black and Jewish people who are connected to to Israel. So
Absolutely.
first and foremost, we just need to have more conversations about Israel. We need to have more community connections within the Black and Jewish community. And it just needs to be on a very like grassroots level. Like we don't need the pastor and the rabbi coming together because those are no longer the community leaders. We need the run club leader and like the coffee shop owner, and like let's have real conversations. And I think that's where it starts, you know, on a very just basic human level.
Yeah. Human to human level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have there been any girls, young women, even young men that have reached out to you that are Black and Jewish that are just like so hopeful and like inspired
I mean, everybody,
by you being a
honestly,
voice?
everybody reaches out to me regardless of where they're from. They just, you know, I get a lot of young people that are just like, you make me feel so inspired and like really strong in my faith. And like, that's like the number one message. Like, I want you to feel like pro Jewish, like, regardless of what you look like. I've had moms that are like, my kids are like half Black, and like, you're like such a good representation of Judaism. And like, I'm so glad that they can see somebody like you. And that's great. But really,
Yeah.
we just need to be pro Zionist, like on the internet. We just need to be proud of where we come from. And I hope that that message is clear.
No, I think it shines through absolutely. And there's the reason I ask that is because there's so many of us posting, but
Yeah.
a lot of us do look the same. And so to look different and be a representation for the community that does exist, that's just underrepresented,
Yeah.
is such a beautiful thing. And I'm sure like young children and like you said, moms are looking for answers. Like, how do I raise mixed children that are Jewish? And how do I, give my children like, people to look up to? So you are certainly like that image and that inspiration for people. So I'm sure that's really valuable.
I'm glad.
I'm excited to see Breaking Bread and what's next for
Yes.
Tali.
Oh, what's next? I want to go on a speaking tour. I just did a speaking engagement in North Jersey with the Jewish Federation for kids. And I've just like really enjoyed that, like just coming in and inspiring people to just show up as who they are. I have next week I'm doing a workshop actually with the consulate in Ethiopia, like with the
Cool.
deputy ambassador of Ethiopia. Yeah, and I'm going to be speaking in front of just Ethiopians who are Zionists and just speaking to them about my story, and then hopefully that grows, and we're going to be talking about me flying over there. But yeah, lots of just like fun projects where I just literally get to show up as myself. So hopefully that continues.
Well, taking the leap and starting to post on
Yeah.
social media certainly has worked out well for you. I'm excited to see more content from you and see what's next. I think there's a lot of exciting things
Yes.
in your future. Thanks so much for being here, Tali.
Thanks for having me.
Yay. Thanks, guys.